Hello, Thomas Malchow here. In this video, we're going to answer a question that Brandur had regarding his swing mechanics. He would like to know if there's an exercise that could help him keep his left arm straight during his backswing. Now, Brandur is obviously a right-handed golfer. Full disclosure, I have not assessed Brandur, nor have I seen him swing a golf club. However, this is a very common compensation. I've seen it many times before, and I do have a corrective strategy for it. It's also important to note that you can be a great golfer and have a great swing with a bent arm during your backswing, and even a bent arm at impact. There are guys on tour that are proving this. However, this is a compensation. And when it comes to your swing, you want to have as few compensations as possible, because the fewer compensations you have, the fewer variables your swing mechanics will have, and the more efficient your swing will be. Not only that, but compensating pulls capacity out of your tissues and will eventually lead to injuries and other ongoing problems. Okay, so we're going to assume that Brandur presents like 90% of the other golfers I've seen with this compensation. Now, this movement impairment is usually a result of muscle imbalances stemming from upper cross syndrome. So upper cross syndrome is one of the three main compensatory patterns outlined in the scientific literature. It is probably the most common one I see in golfers. Somebody who has it will have forward shoulders or rounded shoulders and a forward head posture. Okay, and this posture is a result of sitting and working at a desk all day, from driving, and from sitting and watching TV. Okay, and what happens is when you spend so much time in that position, certain muscles in your upper body become adaptively shortened. And when muscles become shortened, they almost always also become overactive. So one of the muscles that becomes short and overactive with upper cross syndrome is your pectoralis minor. So the pec minor originates from ribs 3, 4, and 5 and inserts into the coracoid process of your shoulder blade. So although your shoulder blade is in the back of your body, there's 2 points that jut out into the front, your acromion and your coracoid process. So the pec minor attaches to the coracoid process, and when it becomes short and overactive, the ribs are not going to move very much, meaning it's going to pull the coracoid process down, which does two things. One, it anteriorly tips your shoulder blade. So if I'm standing like this and my pec minor pulls on my coracoid process, my shoulder blade is going to tip forward like that. Not only that, but my biceps, the short head of my biceps also attaches to my coracoid process, which means that now my biceps have become adaptively shortened and then also overactive. Now remember, the biceps flex your elbow. So if you have a short and overactive muscle on one side of a joint, you will automatically have a long and underactive muscle on the other side of that joint. And although short and overactive muscles are weak, they are 1/3 stronger than their long and underactive counterparts. So we have an imbalance between the flexors and the extensors of your elbow, and your elbow is going to have a tendency to bend. Okay, but that's not the end of the issue here. We can address that by addressing the pec minor, inhibiting it, and getting that shoulder blade back into its proper alignment. Okay, another issue we have to address though is the thoracic spine. So with upper cross syndrome, your thoracic spine gets pulled into flexion. So this is called excessive kyphosis. Okay, and that changes the arthrokinematics of your facet joints. So you have three joints that connect your vertebrae to each other. One intervertebral disc, which is in the middle, and then on either side, there's a facet joint. So you have two facet joints. Now, when your spine gets pulled into flexion, it changes the way these facet joints line up, and they can no longer move properly, and you lose your ability to extend and rotate. And this is called arthrokinematic dyskinesis. Okay? Not only that, but this posture pulls all the ligaments in and around your thoracic spine tight, creating what's called a ligamentous lock, further reducing your ability to extend and rotate your thoracic spine. So now you have a reduced ability to rotate your upper back, which is obviously going to be very problematic for your backswing, but you're trying to get a deep backswing. You have an imbalance between the flexors and the extensors of your elbow, and you're going to end up bending your elbow. Okay? There's one more area that we need to address, though. That's the alignment of your shoulder blade. So your shoulder blade has been pulled into anterior tipping because the overactive pec minor, but it's also been pulled into downward rotation from an overactive levator scapulae. So levator scapulae originates from your first four cervical vertebrae and then attaches into the top corner, medial border of your shoulder blade, and your shoulder blade should sit, if your spine is right here, your shoulder blade should sit with an upward rotation of about 5 degrees. But a short and overactive blade or scapulae on either side is going to pull your shoulder blades into downward rotation. And that's going to cause all sorts of impingement issues at your shoulder joint. If you have pain during your backswing, that could be one reason why. But it also causes inhibition of your mid and lower trapezius muscles, as well as your serratus anterior. And these are the foundation of your shoulder turn. These are the guys that control your shoulder blade and help you make that big, deep turn. Okay, so we need an intervention that's going to release the pec minor, mobilize the thoracic spine, and get the shoulder blades back into proper alignment. So what we're going to use is a myofascial release ball or a softball, a lacrosse ball, and a foam roller. Okay, now we're going to start, and this order is very important, so do follow the sequential order. We're going to start by inhibiting the levator scapulae. Okay, so the trigger point for the levator scapulae is going to be, so if we do the right side, we're going to do both sides, but on the right side is right in this area here. So if you find the top corner of your shoulder blade, it's going to be just above that top corner. Okay, so what we do is we put the ball against the wall, we find that trigger point, and we just press our body into that ball, and the pressure applied by the ball is going to initiate a reflex inside that muscle, encouraging that muscle to relax. Okay, so we would hold this here for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, and again, we would do both sides. Okay, now once we've inhibited the levator scapulae, the next thing we're going to do is mobilize our thoracic spine. Now this does a few things for us. First of all, it improves the alignment of the thoracic spine. It's going to help us get more mobility in there, but it's also going to make it easier for us to inhibit the pec minor, which we will do immediately afterwards. A third thing it does is by mobilizing these facet joints, it actually increases the activity of our mid and lower trapezius muscles, two muscles that have become long and underactive. Okay, so how we do this is we get this perpendicular to your spine, and you're going to start at the bottom of your shoulder blades. Pull your belly button in so that your low back doesn't arch, hands behind your head, and you're just going to extend slowly over the ball, over the foam roller, and hold that position for 10 seconds, and then flex, and then move up an inch or two, and then same thing, extend, hold that for 10 seconds, and then flex, and you'll work your way up to the top of your shoulder blades, doing this at 3 or 4 different locations. Okay? Once you've done that, now we will release the pec minor. So the pec minor, again, originates from the ribs 3, 4, and 5, which is in here, and inserts into the coracoid process. So we want to place that ball right about here. Okay? So place the ball on the ground. Get that, look for the most tender spot. Get your arm out to the side and then up at about 30, 35 degrees. And once you find that spot, we would hold this for 30 seconds to 2 minutes on each side. Okay? Once we've done this, we then want to stretch the pec minor. So we grab our foam roller again. Now, my foam roller is quite short, so it doesn't allow me to rest my head on it. Hopefully yours is long enough. Now, to stretch the pec minor, we need to get your elbows higher than your shoulders. If we just have the elbows at shoulder level, this is just stretching the pec major. We need to get these elbows up, and there we're stretching the pec minor, as well as subscapularis, which is one of your rotator cuff muscles, which has also become short and overactive. So this stretch here, we would hold this for 30 seconds to 2 minutes. Okay. Once we've stretched, now we want to activate the serratus anterior and the mid and lower trapezius muscles, and we can do that by laying on the ground. We're going to get our arms up against the ground. Now, for some of you, just getting here is going to be tough. Okay. Once you get into this position, you're going to press up above your head, trying to bring your hands as close together as possible without letting your elbows or your forearms come off the ground. Okay? You're also not letting your low back arch. So keep your belly button drawn in, keep your spine in neutral position, hold at the top for 4 seconds, and then back down, and then up, hold for 4, and then down. And we would do this 12 to 15 times. Okay, and you'll feel this between your shoulder blades. These are the muscles activating, trying to upwardly rotate your shoulder blade and then get that into neutral position. Now, the last thing we're going to do is one of my favorite techniques, because this is going to not only activate the spinalis muscles that are in and around our thoracic spine. These are the guys that help rotate and help us make a shoulder turn. It's also going to further mobilize our facet joints. Okay, so what I'm going to get you to do is we'll get you this position here. So get your knees about hip width apart, and your forearm goes in between your knees, and your elbow is in line with your knees. Okay, now on this side, my rib cage is touching my thigh, and it stays there. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this other arm and I'm going to rotate up, but I'm not allowing my rib cage to come away from my thigh. I have to stay down here like this, okay? So I have to keep that down as I rotate up. And what we'll do both sides, of course, but we're going to rotate up, keep that rib cage to the thigh, hold at the top for 4 seconds, and then down. And again, 12 to 15 reps on each side. This routine, although not complete, will go a long way in helping you make that full shoulder turn, helping you keep that arm straight. If any of you have any questions regarding any issues you're having with your swing mechanics, feel free to write in. We'll dissect it. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching.